This is in reaction to the press conference that Rigathi Gachagua held at his Hustler's Mansion residence. Tumesahau hiyo nyumba ilikuwa inaitwa Hustler's Mansion, sio? Yeah, this is a reaction to it. The first major reaction is the only predictable thing that you can predict is that you can't predict anything. Why am I saying so? We are being flipped left and right. In 1 minute, we are given an impression that the whole story sasa ni kama imeisha, it's going there. And then suddenly, you find again you are being given on the other opposite direction. I can say this, that in any leader, including Gachagua, including Ruto, including Raila, including Uhuru, including any other leader, you may find that you talk something publicly, then there are those invisible people who have power over you. Like Sunday, he was saying that he was giving an impression that he wants the president to forgive him and things move. But then 24 hours later, he comes out very militant. Actually, when we were young, we used to have this cartoon where on your shoulders, on one side there is an angel, and on the other side there is a devil. So anything you want to do, you find that the two are whispering. This one is whispering you on the left ear, and the other one is whispering to you to the right ear. This one says, go this way. The other one says, no, don't go this way. So we always, according to that cartoon that was there when I was young, we always have on our shoulders an angel and a devil, and they're always debating. So in 1 minute, you can be seen to be going to the east, and then the next minute, you are seen to be going to the west. This is because of the constant interested people. Like Sunday, he must have met those people who are pushing him to tell him to reconcile with the president so that the president just at once stops the whole thing and the whole thing ends there. He must have met those people and actually even said something like that, that there are those people who are pushing him to resign or something like that. Let me tell you, him, all of them, actually, even you don't be shocked to find that even Raila is in it. Just there are those people ukitaja to Raila, umeua mtu. But what I'm trying to say here is that just like the time he claimed that Uhuru told him that the country is burning, take action. This time he's also having, he must be having people who are pushing him to put these two younger brothers of his into order. That one, it is there, even if at the end of the day, Raila will not comment or anything or whatever, or even if he comments, he will comment it in a wise way. Maybe say, I was thinking about it. Like the other time he said, Uhuru told me. So there are people who are pushing him to intervene, but we may never know. Maybe many years when they write their memos about what happened this time, they'll come and tell us. You'll find that there are those people who had pushed him to have a reconciliatory tone on Sunday, and then on Monday he gets another team that is aggressive. So you'll find that before the whole thing ends, he will be moving left and right. And also, do not rule out the possibility that he's sending mixed signals to confuse us, because there are those times when you find people are really agreeing, but you find that they'll not agree. Or people are appearing not to agree, and then suddenly you find them at the steps of Arambe House greeting each other and agreeing on things. So in politics, the only predictable things about politics is that you cannot predict anything. I have seen that he commented something about the Riverside eviction. Well, I have to tell the people, especially those people who stayed next to Nairobi River, that if you listen to politicians, I can assure you, if you listen to politicians, I can assure you that you'll just have your headache. It is because of him hearing about that eviction that he's now playing to the public gallery. There are things we have to talk. There are some things we have to talk, and we have to be very, very serious and very, very open. Especially the issue of those people staying near the riverbank. For the first and foremost, they have to know that staying near the riverbank is dangerous to them. It's dangerous to them, and those people just stayed there. If the government takes it upon itself, like he was complaining that those people who were evicted were only given 10,000 shillings and ABCD. This is how people are. You evict those people, you give them a lot of money, even that 10,000, or even you evict them without giving them anything. You'll find that when there is a drought, they'll start again building houses up to the riverbed. Or you'll find that open space, because the river, there is that space on each side. There is, let's say, usually they calculate that if you stay at such a place, you are safe even during flood. So they can draw both sides. What they do is that these people, or even other people, you'll just find some people still coming back to reoccupy that place, expecting again to be given that money. I felt that the issue where he brought it, and he has bringing it up, it is always an issue of inciting people. Uh, I was preparing myself to record something that I had said that he is what was his name? The Delilah's husband. I expected him to be. I was saying that he was going to. He's the type of a person who will bring the country down if he has to go down. Now, when I was preparing myself mentally to record that, then that is when I heard that he had asked the president for forgiveness. Now he has shifted again. He has shifted again. But what I believe is that this thing will not end up in an impeachment. This thing will end up with the two of them agreeing. I want to move a bit outside this country. I want to take you to Sudan. Sudan, uh, when the military people, the two Sudanese armed forces and rapid response team were ruling the country as military men, and it reached a time when Sudan was supposed to go back to civilian life. What did they do? They turned against themselves. Now they are fighting. They are fighting so that the civilians who wanted to go to form political parties will forget that. So even our fight here, you'll find that I said it from my first video, there is something that is being hidden from we, so that by the time they agree, whatever was hidden from us will have gone and will go. So I still believe that it was wrong for him to, it was really wrong for him to bring up the issue of eviction. He kept on repeating. There is a story that among the points that he had been accused, there is an accusation that he had a land at Ruguru in Madera East. First of all, Ruguru in Kikuyu, it means west. like Kikuyus call Luhyas Arogoro. So Rogoro was called Rogoro because it is west of Karatina. Now, I don't know whether it was typing error or anything. There are some things which are now saying that he has said that Rogoro, the land in Rogoro is in Madera East, whereas it is in Madera West. I don't think that is a big point, that we don't have to make a lot of things. And then I'm shocked. I'm shocked because from where my mother is buried at Kayaba and to Herega is just for people who walk like me, it's a walking distance. It is not far. Actually, from Herega, as you go to Karatina, you have to bypass Kayaba. And I was shocked to find that of all people, he kept on repeating that the farm that they are talking about is in Rogoro, Madera West constituency. I don't know why he was saying that Mutuse was saying that it is in Madera East constituency and but the land is in Madera West constituency. Now, if Mutuse can make a mistake of that, we can understand, because all the way from Kibwezi to Karatina is far. But a former MP for Madeira to say to divide the place into two and say this was Madeira West and this is Madeira West constituency. According to how he was talking, it appears that he's referring to Madeira as two constituencies when it is only one. What happens in Madeira is that it is one constituency, but with two sub-counties. So I don't know why he had to refer to it as a constituency. And then there was this issue of NIS. NIS, I don't know why he keeps on insisting on it, and so on and so forth. It is true, you ask me, that NIS messed during the G occasion. It messed because the way we were taught and the way things are and the way our issues are, I can tell you as a former NIS officer, during our time it was called Special Branch, is that they were capable of knowing, they were supposed to know that GNC will be that way. They was even supposed to infiltrate the cyber. Kwanza for cyberspace is the easiest way to infiltrate, because you only need to open your what do you call a dummy account and you'll follow that. So it is true that NIS messed it a bit, but it was really bad. And you can even see the way the president talked and Nani talked openly. And the other thing is he is a member of the NSAC, National Security and Advisory Committee. I do not know why he felt it to talk about his issues with confront Nur Haji through the public, especially them, both of them being members of the National Security and Advisory Committee. It was really bad. He is trying to justify that by saying that he's trying to justify it by saying that even Ruto did the same during the Uhuru time. You see, mlango, bahati ya mwenzio usilale mlango wazi. Now he's trying to do exactly what Ruto did when Ruto was a DP. Actually, that is bad. He's only supposed to do something because it is right or whatever. He talked about abduction. And if you ask me, I have no proof, so I have to talk from the sidelines. I do not think the DCI is responsible for, and I do not even think the police are. This is NIS, and this is a rogue people within the NIS. Rogue people within the NIS. I can tell you from here, and I can even quote. Let me tell you one thing. I've never talked it, and I think this is the time I have to talk. I'll give you two examples when NIS has messed. NIS has forgotten that they are in the new political dispensation. Of course, nowadays my relationship with them is good. We are having a nice time, but that does not stop me from criticizing them. I can give you the two examples of NIS where they just act as if they are still in the Moi era. And you see, even during Moi era, because I was there, the constitution did not allow what is happening. It was just being done by rogue people. I can give two examples. There is a time when the then Attorney General, Professor Guido Muigai, went to the ICC during the Uhuru and Ruto case. I don't know whether it was Uhuru or Ruto's case, but he went to one of those cases, and he talked and he talked about security people placing him in a funny situation, because on one hand he's supposed to defend the country against, when you are abducted by state agents, the government is supposed to compensate you. And then, but then, as a citizen of Kenya, the government is supposed to compensate you through a court order, and the attorney general is your defender, so he's supposed to look for the money for your abduction to be paid to you. At the same time, he is the defender of the government in power, because he has to make sure that money is not lost anyhowly. So he said during that time that he was in a precarious, because security agents were abducting people. But what happens is that we have had rogue agents from time immemorial. But you see, during our time, maybe they had an excuse because of the environment then. But nowadays, it is not that way. And I remember writing a letter to, I think it was 2013, no, 2013, because I remember the way I had written that letter. It was on the 13th year, and it was in December, the 12th month, and I wrote on 11th day, and I said I'd written the letter on 10 a.m. 10 a.m. of the 11th day of the 12th month of the 13th year. And I wrote to him, referring to a letter that the NIS had written to the registrar of company, a lady, and it was addressed to Mr. Desia, and where they were just telling him, ignore that, whatever. So I sat down with Desia, and even Mr. Desia, who was then the deputy registrar general. The registrar general was a lady. One of his deputies was a Mkamba called Mr. Ndisi. I sat down with him. I said, you see, you have been told that, and if action has to be taken, it is the government has to be taken, and whatever. So you disregard that. And it is good that the three of them, Professor Guido Muigai, Professor Guido Muigai, the Madam Registrar General, and Madam Registrar General, and Mr. Ndisia disregarded that and disregarded the information from the NIS, and took the action as per my advice. The other issue is when the Judicial Service Commission was to appoint judges, there was a list. There was a list that was sent. There was a letter that was sent to Judicial Service Commission saying that a few of the judges should not be appointed for security purposes. Let me tell you now, I want you to understand why Masengeli was behaving the way he was behaving. Although to me, I've always believed AP bado wako na ule ushamba wa chief. It will take another 20 years for AP to be real police officers. Bado wako na ile upuzi ya machief. But anyway, I'll talk about what I think Masengeli must have gone through. There was the case of the judges, where the judges were a handful. It was said, okay, we approve all the judges except two or three. I can't recall the number actually. And then the Judicial Service Commission, through Justice Maraga, asked, can you give us any reason why those people cannot be made judges. And they said that our mandate ends up at just telling you don't swear in Justice Kwatenge, don't swear in Justice Lando, don't swear in. Our mandate ends there. I can say it. Uh, I don't know about the colonial special branch, but the special branch from Directive Number One of 1968, which was written from State House Mombasa by Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, is that when you advise somebody from NIS, you are supposed to assist the person on how to get out of the quagmire. You have to explain that and do whatever, and you have to advise him and what. But of late, NIS is even proving worse than special branch, because they just say that our mandate never ended there. Our mandate was to sit down with the person and tell him, okay, sasa tutafanya hivi na tutasema namna gani. You assist that person on how to get out of that quagmire. You don't just tell him at our mandate ends there. Lastly, on NIS trying to on NI on NIS issue about judges. According to Maraga, and Maraga was sworn in, so he cannot express, I cannot really tell us what was contented in, there is the Official Secrets Act here. He cannot tell us what was there in the list or whatever, but he said something. He said that there are two letters. There was the first letter that was written to him as the chairman of the Judicial Service Commission, where a number of judges were supposed not to be included. Then another list came because it was in the public domain. It was in the public domain that three or four judges are not supposed to be sworn in. So the list was changed with another three or four. Now you may find that, okay, let's say there are three. And kindly understand that I try to talk myself throughout. I don't through memory, so that is why my head goes this and that. But if let's suppose it was three, they gave out a list of three people. You find that later the second list that came, it was 3 years, but one or two was excluded, and one or two, another the same number was included. So if you ask me about abduction and whatever the disappearance, these are intelligence officers who these are intelligence officers who are abducting these people, wanting them to disclose of what plans, where did these things happen and whatever. Okay, for the purpose of this, okay, maybe they believe that so and so, in this case, Rigiji, was financing. So they abduct these people to try and extract information from them. And what do the law courts do? What do Kenyan masses do? What do the human rights world do? They go and blame the Inspector General. And then the Inspector General was an AP, Askaria chief. You see, even if you play the clip, even taking an oath was a problem to him. And any recruit who come, Kiganjo tulichapwa viboko. You have to cram that, because if you are a police officer, you go to court, you're asked, are you a Muslim, Hindu, or Christian? You say, okay, you're a police officer, okay, go ahead. But Masengeli was being directed, sema mimi. Na hapa kwamba a police officer, even a recruit, is supposed to say, mimi James Kwatenge na hapa kwamba I, James Kwatenge, do swear that the evidence that I shall give before this court touching on the matters in question shall be the truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. Hata hiyo peke yake Masengeli alishindwa kusema. So and you see the reason I suspect Masengeli was avoiding the court is because he knew what was happening, and he could not go to court and say that those people have been taken by intelligence officers. So he just felt let him do that. And let me tell you, in such cases, when things go to happen, if things turn out back to you and you fail. So these people who have been abducted, the National Police Service is being embarrassed, being told with this to produce the body or whatever. and then the intelligence just to confuse people just when the new inspector general has been sworn in, and then they go and drop the people. And it is also, there's a comedy there, because sasa wewe okay, it is not a comedy. It may be a comedy to you, but me understand, because people are saying that they were abducted by police, and when they were dropped, they went to Tigoni police station. You see, that is laughable, isn't it? You are abducted by police, then you go to report to your presence of police. No, even those who were abducted, they know that they were not abducted by police officers. That is why they went to report to the police station. I think I've now told you something. Uh, there is something about Rigathi Gachagua when we go back to him. As I've said, he's not even supposed to have confronted the NIS. He had a place. But then there is something that is confusing people. Uh, he's saying that when his brother died, he took 5%, placed it to his mother. Their mother has died. The money has gone to Rigathi Gachagua. He's saying that there is another 4% that was taken to I'm used to saying his sons, Rigathi Gachagua's son, because in African, your brother's sons are your sons. Now there is a brother of theirs whose kids are in South Africa, and whom Gachagua has 4%. That is 9%. And then there is Nderito Gachagua was very happy with his sister-in-law, Pastor Dorcas. He in his will, he left Pastor Dorcas with 2%. I don't want to pause, because pausing will eat your bad data. But what I'm trying to say, I am trying to count those things off head. It says that it goes up to maybe 12%, isn't it? Now, somebody is writing a will and bestowing on you a total of 12%. Their mother was older than them, of course. Their mother was older than them, of course. And it was known that the 5% that was given to the mother, she will one day die. Now, it has even gone back to Gachagua. If you count slowly by slowly, if you give him time to justify these things, and that is why in intelligence they used to leave somebody ongea, then they play back the tape, you'll find ameteleza. You want to tell me that you write your will and leave 12% to your brother, one brother, meaning 1/8, 1/8 of whatever Nderito Gachagua owned when is now with Rigathi Gachagua. And you know, Rigathi Gachagua is not poor. You see, you can even say you are leaving things to your brothers or whatever because they are poor. And Rigathi himself is a multimillionaire. So why should his brother leave? Or was he interfering with the will? Oh, no, no, no. I can tell you it is because Rigathi Gachagua and his brother really stole. He really stole from the county government of Nyeri. And these things were given, and these things were being placed there, and that is how they are going back. I do not know. I find it a bit hard to agree. I find it a bit hard to understand that you dying and leaving 1/8 of your property to your brother who is not poor. That is the sign. That is the greatest sign of money laundering. It is that they both owned that money, that now the things were going back to him. And James Derito Gachagua, when he was dying, he felt that maybe his sons and whatever may have not been, may not have to agree with the giving back the thing. So he was trying to return them through. He was trying to return them through a will. He has also talked categorically that he has talked categorically that he's not going to resign. That is what he is saying. But tomorrow morning again, he may send another signal. There are three options here. He has to go. He has to resign. That is one. Two, he has to 2 and 3. He has to wait for outcome of the no. Two is he has to wait for the outcome of the impeachment, and after the outcome, that one I can tell you, if it goes to full strength, I'll come to that point later. But he will be impeached. He will be impeached. 3, he wants to go to court. But then let me tell you one thing: going to court, I don't see him winning because I understand. I have gone through what he's going through. I have gone through what he's going through. It is saying that Moi told somebody that I think it was Linjiru. He said that sending a dog to chase foxes, and it is a relative to that. When he goes to the impeachment, he's going to wanasema mbuzi katika juria, mbuzi anabishana na simba ambapo magistrate ni chui. I don't think he'll get justice here. And you see, impeachment is different. If you go to court, and I can tell you that Kenya's courts are the best in the world. That one I can talk without any fear of contradiction. But if you find America, which usually tell us, oh, follow the court proceedings, you find that the Supreme Court of the USA, the judges are appointed for life. So you find that when the cases go to the Supreme Court, you find how many judges were appointed during the time when the president was a Republican or a Democrat. So that way you just conclude which way was that. And when you go to impeachment, the first time I heard of impeachment is that time that I lost interest in impeachment. If we go back to the time when Clinton, President Bill Clinton, was appearing before an impeachment motion in the Senate in the US. He was being impeached for whatever he did with Monica Lewinsky. It was obvious. It was obvious that if like the law courts in Kenya do things, the law courts in Kenya have only two things: they rely on the law and they rely on evidence given. That is the Kenyan. But in the American, they even go to say, was he appointed, or was the magistrate appointed by the Republican, or was the magistrate appointed by the Democrats? And if the magistrate was appointed by Democrats, they'll go this way and that. But Kenya, the judiciary rely on two things: the points in law and the evidence given. But even the American system, where we have copied, Bill Clinton was guilty as hell, but he won because he won because the political party he was in is the one that had most senators. And in Kenya, Rigathi Gachagua going to the impeachment motion, both in National Assembly and in the Senate, it will only be relied only on the political leanings of those people. Remember, if you remember very well, Millie Mabonga said that she doesn't care about the civil war in Kenya Kwanza, but when the name of Raila was implicated there, so uliguza Raila, so I have to vote against you. So unless something happens, but even if something happens, whatever the judiciary will pass, whatever not the judiciary, but the impeachment people will pass, it will not be based on evidence. Evidence, you can come with whatever you have. But then I'm also seeing him, he's going to fight up to the last point. He's going to fight up to the last point. He knows that the impeachment movement will, especially National Assembly, He knows that he's going to a hostile territory, and that is why he used the opportunity. He used that opportunity to call a press conference and talk everything he wanted to talk, because maybe he may not be and he's also having he may not be heard there, and he's also having this unfair thing of trying to incite people. He's trying to feel that if he talks to people, and Kenyans, a lot of them, especially the middle level people, middle level in position and middle level in education and so on, the keyboard warriors are always anti-establishment, At this date last year, they were very pro Raila, but now they are anti-Raila because Raila is now in good terms with the government. So anybody who is seen or perceived, so he was trying to incite those people. But then he's ending up with the Solomonian thing. But I can assure you that both in Supreme, both in because he's taking the cases all the way to the Supreme Court, and he's also taking it to the legislature. The legislature will rule very much against him. As for the judiciary most likely they can only delay his quitting. They can only delay his quitting. As I've said that what he's doing and what he'll do tomorrow and what he'll be doing in court and whatever, I have faced it. I was being accused for saying Moi must go, something like that. And when I was appearing before disciplinary committee of the police, I knew that my case was decided. So I just talked things which I wanted them to be placed in my personal file, and of which I'm grateful they were placed in my personal file. So that is what he's doing. He's just doing that. And even when he goes to parliament and even the Senate later, he's going to talk of things that will be, so that many years later, as this happening to me, many years again, he will be vilified. But as for him, I think he is his nini is cooked. And in the Supreme Court, I believe that 80% of the chances he will fail and 20% will fail. But then there'll be a constitutional crisis, because here the legislature has kicked him out, and here the Supreme Court, in the case where 20% succeeds, um, he comes out and says the two arms of the government gives out conflicting things, but then he will be kicked out and whatever. And you see, it is even challenging, because if he's kicked out of Karen and kicked out of the office and another person is sworn in, you'll even see that person is supposed to be sworn in by a judge, isn't it? And then the judiciary will refuse. So this is also a Solomonic, uh, is it not Solomonic? This is a Bwana Delila, Samson, yeah, it is Samson issue that is going to bring the whole country down. It was also not fair for him to attack regional leaders. I think he was playing to the gallery, because when he said, when he was trying to answer the issue of shareholding, he said that he has taken care of his place, although he has not convinced anybody whatever. But it was unfair for him to attack both the speaker and the prime cabinet secretary, and said, they were promised 30% on condition that they produce 70% of whatever. They didn't do that, but you see, they were given. They are not even giving it to the other people. A person like the vice president or deputy president is supposed to be national, but when he started talking of that, remember, Millie Mabonga was annoyed with him when he tried to implicate Raila. Now he has implicated. Let me not talk about Musalia, because Musalia, how many MPs does he have, or even senators? But let us talk about the speaker. The speaker, first of all, he controls the parliament. The second thing, the two speakers, he attacked the two speakers. He said that Kingi alikula peke yake na he came with power and he wanted only himself to get and akapata. Now these people were supposed to get 30% and they are not. It will ricochet back to him because Wetangula has MPs. Wetangula has MPs, and these MPs, just as I've said, Mabonga has said that when he mentioned the name of Raila, and you see we have even some people who are in the Ford Kenya, and when they have heard that he has attacked Wetangula, obviously Wetangula is the referee. Wetangula is the referee, and Wetangula is the referee, and when you attack the referee, plus he has his people, so that was a very unfair thing. So I'm seeing a long drawn fight. Maybe the president was thinking of forgiving him and letting things go. Now he is going that way, but that is a Samson thing that should be discouraged. I want to tell those people who are staying by the river that I'm repeating that as I finish, that it was that you in sincerity, we stay in houses, we pay rents and whatever, but these people actually the victims are not even the people themselves. We have people, and I know of a certain person, incidentally is a Mluya in Riruta Satellite. He is one of those people who, given 5 minutes, he'll go there, construct houses, and start renting them at 300 per month or something. Now with 50 houses, that is a lot of money. But when the river floods or anything, it is you poor people who are going to, even if you are paid a lot of whatever, you can, even if you are paid millions and whatever, your people are being paid. Why don't you just we don't want you dead bwana, usikufe alafu we are paid billions to gawana and tuharibu. That is very bad for him to incite ordinary people against the government. And we can go on and on and on, but it is unfortunate that he's a very militant person, and he's flip-flopping. Like now I'm calling him Samson. Tomorrow he'll be anakaa mtu ngumu sana kumunderstand. But anyway, that is that for today. I rarely reach 45 minutes, but today actually there are so many ideas that is coming to my head. I am unable to decide which to talk and whatever, and so I have just to end it at 45 because it is a long story. Thank you.